another trade recap, this time NQ. Now, I mentioned this in the Outlook that we were looking for this particular trade going into the week, using this weekly bullish fair value gap to frame a potential move into the external. And we had our SMT with YM right here. Now, shout out YM, because YM actually did some business. Anyway, yeah. News-wise, this week we had a few folders potentially in the plans, and the government shutdown, I think, has been resolved, but they didn't bring any folders back this week yet, so we had no news and a bank holiday on Tuesday. So, going into the week, we had initially gapped higher and then pushed up overnight, and I just instantly set my limit, London kill zone Monday morning. We had like a slight retrace that didn't end up doing anything. Then we kind of chopped around, bank holiday, right? And then Wednesday we continued the chop around. And then Thursday, after we had broken down here in London on Wednesday, we kind of retraced up into this bearish fair value gap here. And then on Thursday we pushed lower, got our fill here, got like an initial reaction, and then wiped that reaction out. And then today we got a continuation lower, taking out previous week low, which was where the stop was. And then from there we have had a pretty nice reaction. So it looks like I got caught up in a stop hunt essentially, bro. We had like really clean original consolidation up here, and then we dropped down under here and ran higher, like with a really clean bullish move today in New York. Anyway, that's beside the point though. Another loss on indices. Tough luck, I guess. I guess the unfortunate part is like ES. Like we have SMT again here, and I'm not saying that as in I'm gonna look to take another trade from this weekly gap, because I've already taken one on ES and I've taken one on NQ from the same weekly gap, and they both were losers. So like I'm kind of over this weekly gap at this point, bro. But yeah, I guess that is something to potentially note that it could happen that the position gets stop ran with SMT, and like even though ES closed below the weekly gap and has been less bullish than NQ has been, NQ ends up stopping and ES doesn't or wouldn't have, in the sense of if I would have been in ES I would have been chilling, if I would have been, or since I wasn't in NQ I wasn't. We'll see. I mean, who knows if we run the highs. What I can say is that we have pretty low resistance liquidity above us. I mean, we already did going into this week, but then going into next week again, where we have this kind of like mirroring what we had last week, where we have then Friday kind of finally giving some movement higher after the whole week was bearish. But what I'm saying is this is all low resistance. So like there's a chance we just fucking rip face now that we've been stopped out. That would be unfortunate, but also the other way to see it is we could get a daily bearish gap here after today, unless we have like a big continuation in PM. So that is something to keep in mind as well. And yeah, that daily gap that we did end up forming didn't do anything setup wise, so that was to be ignored going into the week. Anyway, that's the recap. Some yapping there at the end, but yeah,